right, my friend Lori Leland is back. I know a lot of you are still calling on her phones. Don't hang up. This is something I almost feel, I used to do public service announcements in radio, and I feel like in large part, this is not a sales presentation, it's a public service or awareness mission. Normally for what you would spend for one, which would be about $60, $70, it's almost like buy, you know, 1.5, you know, get another one free.
Right, exactly.
I mean, pretty doggone close, especially when you consider you get so much bang for your buck with this. It's actually a smoke detector and carbon monoxide?
Yes, both all in one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And not only that, it has voice and location features. Lori's going to take you on a tour of all these features, by the way. 10-year alarm life.
Exactly.
Gosh, I love that. No battery replacement?
Zero for a decade.
Come on.
You set this and forget it. That's literally all there is to it. And this is First Alert. So this is the premier name when it comes to home and fire safety.
Yes.
I was actually on a major retailer's website recently and saw that another major name brand had been recalled.
Oh.
Oops. Not First Alert. Those weren't working. So you really need to get a trusted brand, and you really, really need to have fire alarms in your home.
Because I'm embarrassed to say, and I'm ashamed to say, in my home.
How many? How many do you have?
I maybe have one working one. Ooh. Because, you know, when I got the beep, beep, yeah, exactly.
Okay, why does the battery always need to be replaced at 3 in the morning?
Thank you.
Why?
And you get so mad, you're like, I'm not, you know, you got to climb up on that ladder at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I know what I need to do.
You've got to do it. I mean, this is something that you could have a fire and be in a bad way if you don't have working smoke detectors, because you need the information so that you can get out of the house. So you're empowered to help your family. You hear on the news all the time about horrible things that have happened, and every single one of us has been touched by a home fire in some way.
Did I hear that talking to him?
So this is an actual talking smoke detector and carbon monoxide alarm. It is First Alert, as we mentioned, and you are getting 2 of these. Instead of that big clunky eyesore, or actually 2 separate big clunky eyesores that you typically have to put up to get this kind of functionality, First Alert has now created for you a sleek, easy to mount system.
This looks cool.
So instead of 2 of these, you're replacing it with 1 of these.
Isn't
what would you rather have in your home?
wonderful?
And no batteries to ever replace. And here's what I hope that we can encourage you to do, because you empowered me just now with that comment. Please take a look around at your home and take stock of the smoke detectors you currently have. Are they in disarray? Are they aging? Are they gray? Are they, you know, turning weird colors? Have you hit it too many times with the broom handle because of that beeping that always happens in the middle of the night? This one will never beep unless you probably really truly have a problem. There are no batteries to replace. So 10-year batteries in 2 of these. So you're not worried about the extra couple $100 at least you would be spending over the next decade in each of these smoke detectors.
And not to say nothing of the pain and the hassle. Like you said, it's like Murphy's Law. If it's gonna like start beeping about the battery, it's always, you know, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're, you know, so loud and they chirp. Speaking of loud though, it almost doesn't matter about the efficiency or the accuracy or the fact that it talks to you, tells you, okay, where that alarm is going off, which I think is, you know, unbelievable to me. If it's not going to wake you up, then kind of what's the point,
well, First Alert, they're on the cutting edge, so they did a lot of research, and they found that adults typically wake up with the loud siren sound, but children are more likely to wake up when they hear the spoken word.
No kidding.
Yes, so listen to this. This speaks to you, and you have a loud siren, and you have multiple tones, so even people with issues with certain tones are going to be able to hear this. So I'm going to just push test for you. It's going to do a whole bunch of talking and beeping. It's talking, and it's loud.
It is.
Yeah. That's going to wake you up.
Warning. Evacuate. Smoke in
Child's bedroom. So you set this to the location you're placing it, and then if you have a problem, if that's the detector going off, you're going to know exactly where it is.
Evacuate.
And look at this. You have a visible cue right there with that flashing LED light. Oh, good. Our carbon monoxide is 0, thank heavens. You okay?
Yeah.
That is loud, right?
Yeah, it is loud.
It's really loud. But that's the whole point. You want to be able to get around that problem to get out of your home, and you need time. Every second is precious. You know, the National Fire Protection Association says that 3 in 5 home fire deaths happen in homes where the smoke detectors don't work or they don't have enough, Shannon Smith. So you might need to add these to the smoke detectors you already have or replace. Do you know that smoke detectors have a lifespan of about 10 years?
Oh, really?
So they start to lose efficacy after about a decade. So look around and see. I moved into a brand new house 3 years ago that was 19 years old. So it had original smoke detectors that were nearly 2 decades old. They needed to be replaced.
Yeah, and see, that's just it. It's not... Here's the great thing about this. We have them for you now. It's also a special event price. They're only $2,000 or a little over $2,000 to go around. And if you're someone like me, I'm guilty as charged.
Yep.
I not only need this, I'm certainly guilty. I need more than one set, that is, because yes, you're getting 2, but chances are if you're in a situation like I am in my household, you probably need 2 or maybe even 3 sets, depending on the square footage or how big your house is. Certainly, you don't need me or Lori, you don't need us to tell you the statistics. You already know you need these. You do. And if you don't feel confident, if you can't remember when you replaced the batteries, if you can't remember when you put those smoke detectors in, like Lori said, if they're looking a little gray, if they're looking a little battered, a little tattered, you know very well you cannot put a price on your safety. And it doesn't matter if you're in St. Petersburg or if you're from Minneapolis or from Minnesota, where I'm from. You always hear those horrifying news stories.
Oh my gosh.
Babies, children, somebody didn't wake up in the night. And
horrible ones over Christmas.
The kicker to most of the stories is they did not have a smoke detector. That's always the tagline to these news stories.
And you know what? Every single one of us has been touched in some way by a home fire. Adam and Chelsea Freeman, they had a home fire. They were very, very lucky. Suzanne Runyon, she lost 2 family members in a home fire. And I just want you to know this is really easy technology. So it's easy to mount. All you do is take this little bracket right off the back. It just slips easily into place either way. So you just slip it, pop it, and then you can mount this right up to the wall. It contains the hardware right in the package, so it's really, really easy to just mount and just by sliding like that. You can put this high on a wall or on the ceiling, so it's totally up to you. And do you know that more than 2,400 Americans die each year in fires and over 13,000 are injured? And do you know that this, because it's a carbon monoxide detector as well. Oh, and here are your recommendations for where to put them. You need to put one in every single floor. So if you have a multi-story home, you need one on each floor. But they also recommend, the U.S. Fire Administration also recommends one in every sleeping area and hallways leading up to sleeping areas. I also recommend near the kitchen, because that's where the majority of fires happen, in the kitchen. And then did you know most home fires happen between 2 and 6 a.m.? Oh, wow. They double in size every 30 seconds. So that means your home could be completely engulfed in flames in as little as 5 minutes. Wow. This is one simple and easy purchase that could keep you and your family safe.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like when you hear those terrible tragedies, when somebody isn't wearing a seatbelt, you think, oh, it would have been just so easy, right? It takes seconds. This is something that's better than set it and forget it. All you do is just buy it, you put it in your house, you don't think about it again for over a decade. And, why let something as senseless and as preventable as a deadly house fire prohibit you from making the call on this? And, that's not to scare you to be alarmist. I've got kind of that guilt, guilty as charged. I know that I do not, I've got maybe one working, it's not funny, I don't know why I'm laughing. I have maybe one working smoke detector in my home, and I do cook a lot. I've got some wiring that's a little suspect. When I turn on the lights, it's like, there's a little flicker, and I'm like, ooh, is there any spark? I mean, my whole house is basically kindling because of all the things I buy. So it's really... It's important. Again, you don't need us to tell you how important this is in your home.
Oh my gosh, it's so important. And like I said, super easy to use. Anyone can do this. And my favorite thing about it, not only the fact that you're getting 2, that this is smoke and carbon monoxide, each one, so no 2 big clunky things that you have to have. This is actually going to replace all of that, or just add this to the existing smoke detectors you have in your home. I know that when I moved into my brand new house that was 20 years old, they had never been replaced ever, so I replaced them. But you can always add these. It's such a good idea to do so. But the great thing is, you don't have to think about it for a decade. No batteries to ever replace or buy. You're never going to hear that beeping at 2, 3 in the morning telling you and indicating to you that the batteries are dying. You never have to worry about not being protected and having that lapse in protection because you don't have the right batteries on hand. That's a big deal for a lot of people. We don't always just have all of these 9-volt batteries or those specialty batteries around. So how long is your family unprotected while you're going to the store or you have good intentions of getting to the store to try to replace those batteries. And I just want to show you right underneath that little bracket, so that bracket that just slides right off, is your on and your off switch. This starts your 10-year counter, your 10-year clock.
Nice.
All you do is flip it to on. Do you know your first alert smoke detector is so smart, it's even going to notify you and let you know when it needs to be replaced in 10 years. I would just test it annually or every 6 months to make sure it's in good working order. You do so by pushing and holding the button right here, and then you can set this to announce very clearly what room it's in or what room it's outside of, and you can choose from 12 different locations. So this is a totally customized situation for you, but you don't have to wire it. It's so easy and it's so necessary.
It is, and that's just it. You will go to sleep easier tonight knowing that you got this, and you'll certainly sleep easier and breathe easier when you know that you've got this ahead of your home and when you get it in your home. So I'm so glad that you're doing this. Again, $22.49. You cannot put a price on your peace of mind and really knowing that you're doing your utmost best to protect your home, your family, and certainly your belongings and your pets and all the things that we love. Lori, when are you coming back with this? Later today?
I am going to be back at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m.
Okay, sounds good. So remember, grab yours, and if you make, just show the physical comparison between what it's replacing. Again, just...
So 2 of these is now being replaced in your home by one of these.
Wild.
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, that's
And this has something really new too. It's called nuisance resistant technology, so you have fewer false alarms.